Talk patch notes here. Alright, about to. Gonna go over the patch notes and give you my thoughts on literally everything. So settle in, bust out your resident sleepers, and start, I don't know, falling asleep. Because this may take a while. Path of Exile 2.4.0 Atlas of World patch notes. So this will be in a few days, and here we go. The Atlas of Worlds. Atlas of Worlds lets you track your progression through Path of Exile's map endgame. You can also use it to upgrade maps and add mods to the Atlas. Indicates which maps are connected to each other. This sounds like it's just going to describe all of the Atlas, so probably have to skip over most of it. Fuck it, I'll read it anyway. The map drop rules have been changed so that connected maps and maps you've previously completed can drop from the area you're playing as you progress towards center of the Atlas from the four corners. Tier map increases. 4 tier 16 maps that contain guardians. As we already know, as you defeat them, you'll earn a fragment of a key that allow you to challenge the Shaper himself. That's the next tier of Atziri, etc., etc. As you complete more types of maps, you can unlock a cumulative map tier bonus that is displayed on the Atlas. I mean, this is all just Atlas stuff. We already know all that. The Essence Challenge League. Challenge Leagues are a great opportunity for a fresh start. Okay, we know all that. In the Essence League, you'll occasionally encounter groups of monsters trapped by mysterious essences. Each type of essence imbues the monsters with different powers, which you have to face upon freeing the monsters from their prison. And then you can get their essences. Similar to an Orb of Alchemy, using one on a normal item will upgrade it to a rare item, but with one predicted property. Each of the 25 essences types guarantees a different power, some of which have never been possible in items before. So, yep, that's always cool. Top 2 essences of each type also act like a Chaos Orb. Right, so you can actually re-roll a rare with the top ones, okay. While it's tempting to use your essences to craft items, you can also upgrade your spare essences to their next power level by combining a group of 3 identical ones at the vendor. The 25 types of essences have between 3 and 7 tiers of power level depending on when they occur in the game. You know, this sounds like it has potential to be really fucking tedious and really talisman-like, as we mentioned. So here's hoping it's not, and it actually is fun and useful. One special type of essence called Remnant of Corruption isn't used on items, but on the trapped monsters themselves. Its vile influence can create many possible outcomes, including special types of essences that can't be created any other way. So, yep. Corrupted sort of thing. Each additional player in your party adds a chance for an additional random essence to drop when the monster is killed. Not bad. Essences ignore master metamods when crafting items. Knew that already. Set of 40 new challenges. 12 challenges, you get the footprints, which I thought looked really lackluster. You could barely notice them at all. At 24, you receive the back attachment, which looked atrocious. And yeah, you kind of don't want that. And at 36, the portal. The portal looked okay, to be honest, but it was just a bit small. I think they need to increase the size of that portal. Because it's just like a tiny triangle. It doesn't look like your character even fits into it, at least in the demo video. It looked terrible for how small it was, but it looked okay. Anyway. Then you get totems. Engine multi-threading, so yeah, I'm getting upgrades, that's good. Other technical improvements, optimized, etc., etc. I'm sure that'll do something. Major new features and content. Added 22 new unique items, including 9 designed by supporters. 8 of these new uniques can only drop from the Guardians of the Void, and 4 drop from the Shaper himself. Yeah, it is very Atziri-like in the end. 2 uniques per Guardian, some of which we've already seen, and 4 from the Shaper, which probably should be pretty fucking good. 4 new divination cards, get excited. New type of strongbox, Diviner strongbox, that's a really cool one. That's a fun one, definitely. Divination cards and all that. Probably extremely rare, and you'll never see it. So, tops. All the Grandmasters with about another dozen Grandmasters. Yeah, no one really cares. Added a channeled skill system. Incinerate, Flame Blast, and Wither are now channeled skills. Okay, so they just reclassified them to be channeled skills, meaning something happens, I'd say, based off of that. Minor new features and content. Medium-sized hideouts can now hold 4 masters, and large-sized hideouts can hold all the masters, 7 Forsaken masters rather than 4. Navali and Leo both bypass these limits. Oh, you can have fucking a Navali in your hideout now, thank God. Party user interface now shows what area your party members are in if they're not in the current area. Players who have recently disconnected are shown grayed out for a few seconds so you can see that it's occurred. Pretty cool. 3D art for Vis Mortis. Don't really care. Widowmaker. Don't really care. Frost Breath. Don't really care. And the alternate art of Demigod's Stride. Yeah, that affects all of like one fucking person. Nice. Whereas Votaxic, old mate Votaxic, is still a polished turd. So avoid batteries. So is a lot of stuff. Yeah. Leaves a bit to be desired, I dare say. The create button is now disabled on the character selection screen if you have no available character slots. Oh, thank God. Now I actually know when it's full. That actually is a major buff to me, because I continuously have to check if I can create a character and then delete afterwards, because I'm always full. Flask buff icons have been remade in a consistent way. Okay. Spirit standing next to Haku now flies upwards when you complete the mission, get your reward. Cool. Intruders in Black Quest and Cruel now also offers a Bismuth flask as a reward. Kinda useful, I guess. Mercy Mission and Cruel now also offers Stibnite and Silver Flask as rewards. Oh, that's pretty good. Get a Stibnite now. Silver Flasks, in my experience, drop quite commonly. Stibnites are usually fucking rare while leveling. Mercy Mission in Merciless now also offers a Basalt, Aquamarine, and Sulfur. Yeah, Basalt's pretty useful. Not bad. The Rock Elemental Pet now sometimes rolls when it moves. Huge buff. Get excited. I haven't even ever seen one of those pets, but it now sometimes rolls. Can't argue with that. Zana Master Cartographer has a new voice actor. What was wrong with the old one? She sounded pretty hot, didn't she? Does she now sound hotter? Forsaken Masters that point to their objective now also have an arrow on the ground in that direction. Okay, I guess that's handy. Bit unnecessary, but handy. You now automatically receive the next waypoint when you kill the Val Oversoul, like other act bosses. Cool. That's actually pretty good. Does that mean you can avoid waiting for the door to open and just portal back to town? Because that's a huge buff in time saved. Like, save you 20-30 seconds probably. You now automatically receive next waypoint. Did that significantly improve the alien grass in the belly of the beast? The alien grass? Significantly improved? No idea what that means, but okay. I'm excited. Flick Strike no longer causes you to drop Haku's spirit. Fair enough, that's pretty useful, I guess. Added some additional dialogue to Marimar, no one cares. Renamed the Labyrinth item Orb of Element, yeah, no one cares. Cutthroat League now have their own League flag art. Don't care. Descriptions of damage ranges have been changed from X to Y to X to Y, so that it's more clear when examining the ranges of mods that an essence can add. Okay, fairly useful. Emerging spiders now emerge more quickly. That's pretty good. Continue to incrementally improve sound, art, effects, and environment. Not bad. Prophecy changes. The prophecy system previously challenging has been added to the core game. You can now find and rescue Navali in the climb. Good. Navali can now be invited to your hideout. That's amazing. She doesn't consume a slot. Amazing. And seeking prophecies from Navali in a hideout, the difficulty used is now the latest difficulty in which your character has ever accessed. Twilight Strand. Okay. So if you completed Merciless, then it's going to do Merciless always. Silver coins now drop less often than before, as Prophecy is not the league mechanic. Ceiling cost for most prophecies has been slightly reduced. It makes sense. The highest level that some prophecies can spawn at has been reduced. Alright, and the normal difficulty version of the Forgotten Soldiers prophecy has been made easier. Righto, so implemented the main game and hopefully in a good way. Immunity improvements. Immunity to debuffs has been reworked to be consistent. In all cases where a player gains immunity to a debuff, they now also have that debuff removed, as opposed to just not allowing further application. Alright, makes sense. Cannot be stats do not work as an immunity. For example, Fairgrave Strike on prevents you being shocked but does not remove shock. What? How do you get shocked if you cannot be shocked? Or is that just to clear up, if you get shocked you can't chuck on a Fairgraves and then remove your shock? Is anyone doing that? In most cases this change will not change how existing game elements behave, however some game elements have been reworded to clarify how they work. Alright, triggered skill improvement. What have we got left? Like an essay. Lovely. Triggered skill improvements. Since we introduced triggered gems, players have been able to trigger their skills faster and faster with each update. True dat. Performance and gameplay consequences of extreme skill spam have finally justified a redesign of how some trigger gems work. You don't say. For Cast on Critical Strike, Cast on Melee Kill, Mjolnir, Null's Inclination, and Cosbury's Malice, only one skill can be triggered per trigger event. The damage of Cast on Critical Strike and Cast on Melee Kill has been increased as described in active skill gem balance below. Alright, the spell that is triggered is determined based on the order in which it is socketed and will cast supported spells in sequence even across multiple attacks. What would be the point in linking more than one? These items and skills also have cooldowns which limit how often a skill is cast. Yikes, a cooldown as well. All unique items that trigger skills now and going forward. All unique items that trigger skills now and going forward follow the rule that if a skill is triggered, it can only be used by that trigger and cannot be directly cast by the player as well. Okay? Previously, only the trigger support gems limited the use of the triggered skills this way, while skills triggered by unique item properties could be self-cast. Mjolnir legit 1 chaos now? Yeah, that does wreck Mjolnir a bit, doesn't it? I have to see and actually play around with it and see if these things are still worth it or actually do anything, but yeah, they could have well destroyed a Mjolnir. And cast on crit, I don't know, could still be worth it. I have to honestly see how it plays out when it comes to life. Rip 75% of Mathel's builds. That's a bit rough, man. Active skill gem balance. Frost walls created by you or your allies are now no longer considered enemies for the purpose of projectile collision detection. Your projectiles will not collide with your own frost wall. This intentionally fixes the exploit case where a player stacks many frost walls around a boss and uses a skill like piercing lightning arrow to trigger an excessive amount of hits. So, that finally happened. Fixes the exploit case. Oh gee, that thing only lasted for 3 years and was considered an exploit, according to them. And there goes the other 25% of my builds. Yep, done. Fuck it. Got no builds left, can't play this game anymore. No cast on crit, no frost wall. What am I supposed to do now? Cast on crit now is a 500 ms cooldown, and will now only trigger 1 spell per frame when you critically strike. Muted. uh, can't hear? The fuck are you talking about? I haven't been muted. Fuck is trolling me? I've not been muted this entire time. How the fuck was I muted? I haven't touched anything. Alright, what didn't you hear? Cast on crit? I fucking haven't touched anything. How could I possibly have been muted? You were after saying the cock cooldown. I don't know, I was saying something about how, what, you can't PowerPoint anymore. So, that's how they fix the frame issues, by you not being able to do it anymore. Well, anyway, so yeah, cast on crit. I don't know, cast on crit itself there kind of looks like it could still work. But it seems like it'll just be a novelty. And self-casting in almost all cases will probably just be better. I have a feeling cast on crit discharge will still be a really good clear skill. It probably just won't be amazing for single target anymore. Based off of what I'm reading there. So cast on crit discharge, you're still going to spin through a pack and obliterate it through your one massive discharge. And then go to the next pack in another second, obliterate that next pack, etc. Your single target would be dog shit. 500 mesicles half a second. Yeah, I know, but I'm saying you don't need to spam it more than once through a pack. You dive into a pack, you trigger it with your cyclone once, boom, everything's dead. Next pack, trigger it once, boom, everything's dead. Which is a smoother gameplay than running in and having to press it yourself. Self-cast discharge because you're susceptible to stun and interruptions and whatnot. And costs a lot of mana and all that. So I think for clear that could still be fine. Yeah, since they also gave it another 39% more damage, so that's like a free, jam socket to it. So I think that might actually still be perfectly fine. Anyway, cast on melee kill now is a 250 ms cooldown. Yeah, because people were using and abusing that, weren't they? Cast on melee kills increases to spell damage have been replaced with 20% more at level 1 up to 39%. Yeah. I mean, whatever. Right? Who really cares about cast on melee kill? Many skills have had their damage increase. The increases start out low at lower levels and taper upwards. Here are the increases at gem level 20. Fireball, 50% more damage. Ice Spear, 70% more. Arctic Breath, 35% more. I mean, all three of those became pretty fucking viable right now. Arctic Breath and Fireball were still builds. And now they're even more builds. Cleave, 19% more damage. I don't see any range buffs or anything. Cleave's problem isn't damage, it's its shit range. I better keep reading and find something about that, because giving Cleave a bit more damage doesn't fix fucking anything. And it's just like pointless. Sweep, 15% more damage. Yeah, I mean, sure, that could use a bit more range too, though. Ground Slam, 15% more. That's fine, I suppose. Thunder, 9% more. Whatever. Don't think you're going to be using Sunder too much still. Um, Viper Strike, 11% more. Don't think that was necessary. Mechanics, Double Strike, 13 more. Heavy Strike, 5% more. Okay. Glacial Hammer, 6%. What are these numbers, man? Frostblade's 15% more. That might make Frostblades a bit more tempting. And Lightning Strike is 9% more, which is fairly nice. Wild Strike, 19% more damage. It also now also gains 1% increased area effect per level. Not sure that's going to make it usable. Still more mechanics that suck there. 16% more for Static Strike. Static Strike could be usable, to be honest. Reeve, 12% more damage. Reeve's base area effect has been increased by 21%. Its per stage area effect has been reduced from 30 to 20. Okay. Same area effect at maximum stages. Okay, that's a bit nicer, I suppose. Reeve's area effects have been updated to match changes to Reeve. So nothing really changed there, just 12% more damage. And easier to have AoE at the start. I think that's fine. Nothing really changes there, just more damage. Reeve didn't really need more damage, but okay. Lacerate's 30% less attack speed drawback has been reduced to 25% less attack speed. This is a buff. Yeah, okay, so we gained 5% attack speed. Lacerate's just a little bit nicer. Nice buff. Yeah, I mean, I think it's because they say it's a buff because someone might interpret that as a bigger nerf or something, somehow. Because you're lessening attack speed. I don't know, whatever. Alright, this is a buff. Ice Crash's attack speed penalty is now 20% less. Down from 25. Its secondary stage damage penalty is now 15% less, down from 20. Its third stage damage penalty is now 30% less, down from 40. This is a buff. Alright, slight buff there. I think it needs a bit more area to be competitive if Earthquake exists. Static Strike now gains 1% increased area effect per level. Damn, Static Strike's actually looking pretty tempting. Because Static Strike, like its biggest problem is still the targeting. You have to actually target with it, so it makes you pretty susceptible to getting fucked by melee damage. But with a helm enchant, with a less duration, with the amount of damage it's getting here and area, it'll be a really good clear skill if you can fix that out. Fix that up. Still worse than Earthquake, you would think. You would think. Because you have to become pretty fucking tanky, whereas Earthquake, not really. Earthquake's aftershock damage has been reduced from 60% more at level 1 to 50% more at all levels. Its mana cost has been increased from 6 to 10. Oh damn, no more 25 mana cost 6 link Earthquakes. Aftershock area effect has been reduced by 12%, with the wide-ranging melee buffs and adjustment. To Earthquake, we expect to see much more balanced use of melee skills. I don't know, man. The Aftershock was quite often an afterthought as far as Earthquake went. You kinda still ran around just fucking one-shotting everything, just one-tapping, and not even waiting for the Aftershock. So, yeah, I don't know about that. And I mean, reducing the area by 12%, the Aftershock, that's not much, considering it pretty much covered the screen most of the time. So, looking at the other changes, I don't see any reason that Earthquake wouldn't still be king. Sure, the others may be a bit more competitive, but I don't know. Blade Vortex now has a stack limit of 20, down from 50. It now does 63% more damage at level 20. Number of hits per second causes substantial performance problems. The skill is also deemed too strong against bosses. Holy fuck. Okay. That means a few things as far as I'm concerned. So it's an overall damage nerf. If you could maintain 50 stacks for bosses, sure. That's fine. Getting to 20 stacks is ridiculously easy now. So you don't have to stack as much. You don't need the increased duration gem, for example, anymore. You barely have to stack any spell echo. Um, and for map clear, that's a lot better, because if you have a lot more damage per stack, like you used to only maintain something like 5 to 10 stacks while running around map clearing, right? So now you still will only maintain 5 to 10 but have 63% more damage while running around. So, I don't know, I think Blade Vortex should feel better for mapping now. But it just won't one-shot. It probably still will one-shot, to be fair, as low life, but you know, it has less chance of one-shotting a boss after hitting 50 stacks and running at it. Yeah, I don't know. That actually kinda makes me want to play Blade Vortex as a first character instead. So yeah, that's actually, I don't know, like a buff and a nerf, and I think it could afford to use. Yeah, I think it can afford to take that nerf against bosses. With 20 stacks, you're still going to be fucking steamrolling, I reckon. So there you go. I'm okay with that. Magma Orb can now be affected by projectile speed modifications. Lovely. Don't really care. Discharge now deals 35% less damage when triggered. I mean, that's fine. You could certainly afford to take that nerf and still be god tier. Vile Molten Shell now causes an explosion when it prevents any physical damage rather than when it takes any hit. Ah, did that need to happen? Didn't they already fuck Vile Molten Shell in the ass? Um, fucking, doesn't that just rip Scold's builds typically? Or does that still prevent physical damage, technically? Like, I don't know, that seems a bit weird. I mean, Scold's is already a dead build with what it was. It took way too much to make it work these days because of the 50% on everything nerf last patch. Trap mine behavior Bladefall has been made more consistent with other trap mines. Blade falls from the mine itself, not targeting the location where the monster is. They will fall in the direction of the monster though. I mean, does that change too much for the way that you've been cheesing bosses with traps and mines? Just means you have to be a bit closer to the boss when doing it, right? And PvP stopped reading at PvP. Support gem balance. Melee Splash now only has 35% less damage to other targets at level 1, down from 50%. Now it's 26% less at level 20 from 31%. This is a buff. You don't say. So what is a 6% buff at level 20? I don't think that's enough, considering the mechanics of it haven't changed. You still have to target shit and put yourself at risk. Can't see myself wanting to do that with any skill. Hmm. Damage bonus for less duration support has been reduced. Oh no. At level 1 it has been reduced from 20 to 10. At level 20 it has been reduced from 29 to 19. Given the strong utility of this gem, it doesn't need a damage bonus that high. Fair enough, 19% is still pretty good at level 20. I'd still use it in quite a few builds, so that's fine. I can live with that. Pierce mana multiplier.
Maybe.
Oak. Thanks for the 20-month resub. Nerfs, sad face. That's fine, man. Some of these nerfs don't really mean much, dude. Pierce's mana multiplier would increase from 110 to 130. Its damage at high levels only has been reduced. Its damage at level 20 has been reduced from 29 to 19. Yeah, so that's a big kick in the nuts again. But that's still fine, especially if you actually use Pierce. I mean, without Frostwall, though, you will be using Pierce a lot less. A lot less. Cast when stunned. Now also triggers when blocking a hit that would stun. No. Rewards crest damage, spectral summon, whatever. Following changes don't affect existing versions of the items unless you have a divine orb to re-roll them. So legacy items exist. Reach of the council, its added damage has been lowered from 25 to 40 to 10 to 40. 10 to what? 100 to 115. 15 to 30 to 70 to 95. Yeah, that's still not that much. So local increased physical has been reduced from 50, 70 to 40 to 50. Okay, so that's a pretty large nerf. Doesn't need the incredibly large damage bonus. I like how they say it, justify it now, as if it was previously unknown information. Okay, so that's a pretty huge reach nerf, and that's fine, but legacy, I don't like that. Its chance on Void Heart, chance on melee hit to bleed has been lowered from 100% to 30 to 50. Its chance to poison has been lowered from 100 to 20 to 40. Too much of a damage bonus for one non-weapon item slot. Jesus. So that only really synergizes well with Assassin now, I feel. The new level of Void Heart. A Legacy Void Heart's still amazing, but that Void Heart, yeah, I don't know. You can justify it on an Assassin because you still get up to like 100%, close to 100% with both. I don't know about anything else. Maybe a Gladiator. I'll look at chat. What do you want me to fucking read, man? It's spam. Sanity skill changes. Unrelenting now has a 30% chance to gain maximum charges on generating an endurance charge rather than 100. Fudge. While we do want the Juggernaut to be effective at generating endurance charges, made it far too easy and low if it's still very good. But it's unreliable. It's unreliable as fuck. That's a problem. 30% chance to gain maximum charges on generating endurance charge. Like if you want to quickly get up to max endurance charges and pop your enduring cry, you can't. And you can't rely on it. That's... It's better for it to say, you know, give you 30% more charges than you would normally gain or some shit. Because I don't like unreliability when it comes to endurance charges paired with your immortal calls. Doubles the charge of gain. Doubles the charges gained instead of, yeah, something like that. That's pretty bullshit. I don't know. Doesn't affect me much. I don't really care that much about Juggernaut. Headsman now grants 15% increased area if you've killed an enemy recently, down from 20. Slight nerf, that does make it a bit less desirable. Impact now grants 10% area, down from 15. These two skills are still the best way to get area effect for duelists. Nice justification there. I mean, you don't really use impact in a good Slayer build now anyway, so that's not a problem. And a headsman going from 20 to 15, a 5% nerf, that's honestly not a problem. I don't see these as big nerfs or game changing in any way. Impact sucked balls basically before. You really wouldn't use it over just plain melee splash most of the time anyway, because it doesn't synergize with the increased area gem. So impact just sucks worse now. Great. And headsman, like I said, 5%, that's not a big deal. Because the leech nodes are still completely insane. You still get the onslaught, you still get the 20% cull. This is fine, don't panic. Slayer and Duelist are fine. Shaper of Desolation now grants different confluxes over a 10-second cycle. Chilling conflux for 3 seconds, shocking conflux for 3 seconds, igniting conflux for 3 seconds, and then all three together for 1 second? You fucking what, mate? 1 second? Each conflux means that any damage causes that status ailment. Elemental conflux is too powerful. The new version requires more strategy and doesn't need a kill to get started. Okay. Doesn't need a kill to get started. I mean, that's nice. So what? Still works on boss fights. So that's a boss fight buff. We could say single target buff. Shocking. I mean, you can. I mean, hey, you guys are panicking and just lolling and all that right now, but I think that's still somewhat usable, is it not? I don't know about the whole. It doesn't really work too well with Prolif anymore. That's kind of bullshit. So you probably won't be taking that Prolif passive, but you could grab this one, and it'd be pretty useful to ignite or shock for 3 seconds. And then, if you fucking get the lucky dip 1 second conflicts for all three against a boss, that's pretty handy too. But the conflux plus prolif doesn't synergize terribly well anymore. I mean, yeah, the free prolif is still good for some builds, definitely. But yeah, the 1 second, I don't know, that should be at least 2 seconds, should it not? What's 1 second? What fucking strategy can you pull off with 1 second? Let's be real. Monster balance changes. Monster life has been increased in tier 4 to 12 maps. Cool. That's not bad. And the life regeneration mode and aura for rare monsters can no longer appear until level 8. To prevent unkillable monsters early, we don't have tools to deal with their high life regeneration. Was that ever a problem? Life regen on level 7 and below monsters? Okay. Bosses that had a reduced effect of curse on them now have a multiplier rather than a reduction. Over time, more and more curse effect has been made available to players, with the boss curse effect reduction being additive. The increased curse effect available to players overwhelmed at temporal chains and fear will arguably still trivialize most bosses. That's true. Um, so yeah, it's now less than just reduced. That's okay, I think. Yeah, I agree. I think curses were too strong against bosses as well, definitely. You'd see that quite a lot in some people's builds where the curses just fucking shit on bosses. But they were also one of the only ways to make some boss fights manageable. Some core Malachi kills, for example. Without a strong temp chains or enfeeble, he'd just be too strong. I think this might still be okay though. Like it says, it should still trivialize most bosses. Most bosses. Disfavor Voidheart EQ with this patch in every way was fucked. More or less, and it does make Inquisitor so much more tempting for most spell and spell crit builds, given this elementalist sort of nerf. Which is amazing. The Inquisitor just remains completely untouched here. Nothing about Inquisitors getting wrecked. Other balance changes and Ancestral Warchief totems weren't touched either. Anyway, other balance changes. Tier 1 maps now drop from level 58 onwards in Merciless. Cool. Poison now deals 8% of physical and chaos damage. As chaos damage for 2 seconds, down from 10%. While we have future plans to fix poison, addressing double dipping, this nerf brings it slightly more in line until we can make those changes. I mean, okay, it's about a 20% nerf, but probably shouldn't change much for the most part. At least yet, as they say. Labyrinth item enchantments to Stormcoil duration have been weakened. No! In Merciless, the duration is 20% lower rather than 30, and the endgame duration is 30% lower rather than 45. Nearly instant Stormcoils were a problem. It has its delay for a reason. Was it a problem? How is that a problem? Where's the fucking problem? What do you mean by it was a problem? Literally every Mathil build fucked. Seems that way, but I mean, to be fair, I played literally every build, so... Yeah, I should have played some fucking SRS or, you know, totems, because I don't see that being boned anywhere. I mean, it'll still be okay, guys. 30% from an Uber enchant is still pretty strong. But yeah, that does make my Elementalist Stormcaller just a little less sexy. The extra map. Wait, there are still legacy versions of this enchantment? Ah, so it's not a problem on standard, is it? Not a fucking problem on standard. What does that even mean this is a problem, but it's not a problem? The extra map drop chance that occurs at the map boss is now on the final map boss you kill rather than the first one. Final map boss you kill rather than the first one. Okay, does that do anything? The cost for Reacher to guarantee 3 specific colors of socks has been reduced to 120. Yay, Varici. We totally care about Varici. Chance of finding a unique strongbox has been doubled again. As we mentioned earlier, 0 times 2 is still fucking 0. But for the no-lifing nerds like me, I'm sure I will see more strongboxes. And you guys can all live vicariously through my strongbox unique finds. You totally care otherwise about Varici? Well, you must be the only one. Let's see, tormented spirits can now only touch up to 50 monsters each. The technical issues caused by vacuuming farming are causing too many problems for us. We have unfortunately had to disable this playstyle. This will improve server performance for everyone. Thank God. Tormented spirits can no longer possess a Vegan because sometimes he cannot die. Damn. Zana League mods available during 2.4 Invasion Beyond. Ah, Beyond level 3 for 3 Chaos. Fuck, that's good. It's gonna be so much Beyond. I'm gonna Beyond the fuck out of everything. Double Beyonds everywhere. Anarchy, 3 Rogue Exiles. Yeah, not bad. Torment. No. Parandus. Adds 3 Parandus chests. Chance for Kadira to spawn. Yikes. Is that worth 4 Chaos? Maybe? How many fucking Parandus Zana maps are you gonna have to open to get enough coins to buy something decent off Kadiro? Imagine opening your first Parandus. You fish out like 100 coins. You find Kadiri. He's standing there with a headhunter for 25,000 coins. Imagine it. It's gonna happen to someone, and it's gonna be a 10,000 upvote post on Reddit. They'll at least farm karma with that. Uh, Domination. Forecast, 3 shrines. Ambush, forecast, 3 strongboxes. Seems a bit weak for level 8, but okay. Due to balance changes, every existing character, full respec. Swell. This process will also reset your ascendancy points. Not bad. Click reset all. Cool. You're a karma who'll give you. You want that to happen to you. You legit want to open your first Pirandus Zana mod and have a headhunter for 25,000 coins. Because I'm pretty sure I don't want to see that, personally. I'd rather see the headhunter for like 50 coins and be able to buy it. Fixed bug where the headsman ascendancy skill prevented poacher's mark from awarding players the correct amount. Should we read bugs? Do we bother? There's gonna be a lot of bugs that we didn't even know existed. Just gonna scan over them real quick. Fixed a bug where leap slam would do nothing if the target location was obstructed. Ooh. Ooh. That's pretty good. Pathfinder flask bug is hilarious. Fixed a bug where the Pathfinder's flask gained a charge every 3 seconds skill would cancel your attempt to reclaim a microtransaction every 3 seconds. That's what was fucking happening on my Pathfinder! That's why I was sometimes not able to get my MTX back and it would just keep resetting the cursor. And it was only happening on my last 2 Pathfinders. Fucking hell, man, it makes so much sense now. And especially since, like, it breaks it once you get it, and then you go back 2 seconds later and it breaks it immediately again after. Nice bug. Alright. Fixed a bug where a lacerate could hit with invalid weapon types that were equipped in the offhand. Well, so now you're just lacerating with your main hand again, as you're supposed to. Swell. Fucking. So, you wielding 2 good weapons is still the least effective way of playing dual wield skills. Fucking tops. Fix the bug with Scare's global critical strike mod applied like a local one, effectively granting an 80% mod. That wasn't intended! They didn't want it to be a good crit weapon. It's now a shit crit weapon. It now has 6 crit and gives you another 80%. Which is probably, you know, still worth about 1. God, that made it so much worse. It went from being your best in slot in your main hand to extremely questionable. Ouch. Effect of Blade Vortex did not play correctly if you didn't see it being cast. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I ruined that too. I don't remember anyone else saying Scava was fucking great. You know, none of the streamers or anything. Other people obviously said it was great before. Ah, dude, what do I fucking play now? Fix the bug where you could gain permanent Blade Vortex stacks if you had superhuman timing or a macro. Fair enough. Nerfs blame Mathel. No buffs to Spectre Throw. No nerfs to Spectre Throw either. That's what you're missing. That's what you really should be looking for. Now visually resume playing correctly if you go away and come back. Okay, that's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, if we look through like my YouTube and the past builds I've played recently, pretty much every one of them has been fucking nerfed. Actually, it might be easier to look through my build list. Uh, Spectre Throw not nerfed, Lacerate slightly buffed, but Skaver itself was nerfed, and Juggernaut itself was nerfed to shit. Stormcall Elementalist nerfed on both fronts quite heavily. Earthquake Slayer nerfed on both fronts, the Earthquake one and Voidheart, especially. Oh, not Voidheart. I wasn't really using that. That was in fact nerfed. Cockquisitor Shield Charge. Yep, that was nerfed. Although Inquisitor was not nerfed. Scion Life Essence Drain. You guys are saying Essence Drain got ripped or nerfed. Is that because of whatever it said back here? PvP T values have been set for Contagion, Essence Drain, and Vortex? I don't know what the fuck that means. Because otherwise, I don't know, this seems not nerfed and still good. Pierce and Poison? Less duration and Pierce nerfs? Oh man, that's not a big deal. Give me a break. Losing, what, 10% more damage from Pierce there. That's it? That's all we're mad about? And Poison losing 2% of its damage stacking? I mean, I think that's fine. They will fix the double dipping and poison, yeah, but they haven't. Yeah, that's boned. Inquisitor CI Lightning Strike and Frostblades. That was strictly buffed, wasn't it? All across the board. Nothing on this build got nerfed. Inquisitor's fine. Lightning Strike and Frostblades both got buffed. Buffs? Wander doesn't exist anymore. Voidheart doesn't exist anymore. Mjolnir Inquisitor, yeah, got completely destroyed. Void Battery Blade Vortex, probably still fucking good. I don't see why not. But these are old builds anyway. So most recently, Facebreaker Shield Charge didn't get touched at all. Did it? Shield Charge Facebreaker? Shield Charge, no nerfs there. No nerfs to War Chief. Void Heart, I mean, I didn't really use it in that build anyway. And Slayer, I guess, got a tiny nerf. What happened to Wonders? Well, Frost Wall no longer applies, and Pierce got a slight nerf too. So without the Frost Wall Pierce, your single target is most of the time going to be dog shit. Unless you can back something into a corner. 116 messages, yeah. It's usually just, you know, hi Mathel, here's my build, fix it, look at it, change it. And I don't have time for that. How did Pathfinder not get touched? A lot of things didn't get touched, did they? BV still good. BV should still be very good after the nerf. For clear it should be even better. And for boss fights it'll be a bit worse. Which I don't think should be that bad. Ascendant didn't get any buffs. Yeah, that's actually kinda strange, isn't it? Nothing changed with Ascendant. Like, I mean, you could indirectly buff Ascendant by nerfing all the other ones, and they didn't nerf all the other ones. Oh, man. Going to play EQ Jug, now Slayer all the way. Why is BV better for clear? I already explained it. It's because you didn't ever get to like 50 stacks while clearing. You'd rarely break 10 stacks while clearing, you know, maps and trash. And now at 10 stacks, you have 60% more damage. Question is, what am I playing first? Yeah, I don't know, man. Ancestral Warchief Totems sound pretty tempting. Um, Blade Vortex sounds pretty tempting. I wanted to do Stormcloak Elementalist, and I probably still could, but that's far less tempting now. An Arctic Breath Inquisitor could be fun. I don't know, I have to think about it a bit, I guess. Essentially, it's got to be a build that starts out easily enough and should be able to clear all content. And, Static Strike would be fun, but I think that's going to take some gear. I could do some sort of a Static Strike duelist like I have in the past. What was that character? He died, mind you, but he did exist. A non-crit one. See if I can fucking find it. The playstyle existed and it was fun back in the day. Static Strike. It's been a while. It's been a very long while. Where the fuck was Static Strike? Oh man, has it actually almost been 2 years? Britt Ellie Static Strike. No, I think I did it beyond that. Did I do it before that? Christ, I don't remember. Static Strike, whatever. Jay Freezy sub. 20 months of sub from Jay Freezy. Thank you very much, man. For the resub, Jay Freezy. What do we got? 2-hand RT, Static Strike, or any melee, really. Bam. Do I show off some gameplay? Of course I do. Yeah. Look at how good that is. Do we kill the Vals quick enough? That's not bad. This is pre-ascendancy, mind you. Pre-less duration gem. Pre-less duration enchant. It does some damage. Were we 6-linked? Ah man, we were 6-linked. That's unfortunate. Last rate build still be okay. The build itself is fine. It's the weapon scaver that got boned, so you'll probably have to get better weapons. There'll be somewhat of a nerf. Let's see how we do against Trio. Oh god, we're getting fucked. Our sword's pretty damn good too. I mean, the DPS is alright. A taste of hate goes a long way to being able to do bosses like this easily. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. I mean, DPS is alright. Hey, Signa. This Uber? God knows, this is just a regular 2-run. This is a long time ago now. What are we talking? A year and a half ago. Triple Ellie flasks. Yeah, man. Back in the day, that was the way to do it. That is good shit. Conk affecting on this? Damn, that man is getting wrecked. For this build, would you run Slayer? Yeah, definitely. Actually, holy shit, Slayer would be so good for this with the leech. That would actually make you pretty tanky and viable to face tank shit with Static Strike. Thing is, I can't still see why I'd want to do Static Strike instead of Flicker Strike for clearing in general. This is before the Duelist Mana Leech. Yeah, I know. Like I think I had a bit of Fizz Leech, which would barely sustain from Static Strike. Dude, Static Strike could be legit. I just think it's gonna take some gear as a problem. And one of the things you don't kind of want to do is commit to a melee build with new content coming, because that's probably going to get you killed against some of the new bosses, and Shaper in particular. You know, imagine going blindly a new league as a melee build that you're uncertain of against Atziri the first time you ever come across Atziri. You're going to get your shit pushed in, which is why I went with Buzzsaw, Spectral Throw, because I knew that could handle all content. So yeah, that's questionable. Static Strike would be fun, but it probably isn't smart.